Hey.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Forge Forward podcast. My name is Phil De Cruz. I'm with the infamous Courtney Smith.
Hello,
and
everybody.
Beautiful. And we're here today to dive into the game-changing insights and explore innovations in the future. Today, we're excited to have Jeff Blutman from the DLCS ISO accreditation
Hey,
on
guys.
the podcast. Beautiful.
Hello.
Say hi to your fans out there. Good work, Jeff. Good work. He's one of Richard Branson's best friends, so make sure you make sure you have that out there.
The photos are the proof, but in an AI world, I mean, who knows, right? Who knows?
Beautiful. Let's kick us off, Jeff. Tell us a bit about yourself, the company, and the unique value that you're going to bring to the Forge Summit.
DLCS International, it's been around almost 30 years. We're a certification organisation, so a certification body. So we've got a team of auditors nationally that predominantly work within Australia, but also overseas, auditing against international standards or ISO standards. I suppose our point of differentiation to the local market is we are a local business, Australian owned and run. We have auditors around the country, Australia, New Zealand, and have a lot of clients across a multifaceted group of verticals.
What are the big industries you tend to service, Jeff?
Very good question. When I joined the organisation 10 plus years ago, we were very, very heavy in the construction game. And construction related businesses. Mm-hmm. Since I've been on board, we've had a huge push to sort of open our arms up as a business and expand the type of disciplines we audit against, but also the type of clients we have, and diversified greatly there. So, nowadays, yes, we still punch above our weight in the construction game, but, we've got businesses across a huge amount of industries.
Yeah,
and therefore the resources via auditors to actually service those.
And we assume as hosts and guests that everyone understands what ISO means and what ISO is. Maybe if we could just give a quick background of why ISO is in place, where it's come from, and the importance of it in the marketplace.
Sure. ISO is an acronym. Funnily enough, it is the International Organization of Standardization. So they move the letters around so it sounds a little fancier for the market.
Righto.
So I mean, essentially, we can sum it up as agreed best practice, global agreed best practice.
Right.
And so organisations such as yourselves will look at these standards, apply these standards to their organisation, and we come along and we make sure that we're hitting the mark, and also, offering a value add as far as continuous improvement.
Yeah, look, it's really interesting because we went to a team based activity the other day, and it was all about innovation-led thinking and client, human-led design and all that sort of stuff. What was really interesting is this segue between idea and innovation, and the difference between an idea and innovation is the way in which you put an idea into practice. And so, in theory, ISO is a framework to ensure you've got a consistent method of putting things into practice, on a regular basis.
Well.
Yeah, so I had never thought of it before until we're talking now that ISO actually is an enabler for innovation when you think about it. Yep.
Sure, and it's predominantly designed to fit into your business nowadays as opposed to the way around.
Yeah, which is a critical piece. On that note, we've got a Forge Summit. You're a partner. You've jumped on board. Really appreciate it. We think it's really important to segue between this space of quality, safety, environment, and the future of tech, because things are going to change. How do you see Forge benefiting the industry from our quick chat, and why did you choose to jump on board?
First and foremost, obviously supporting you guys. We've worked with you guys for the best part of 10 years, I suppose. Yeah. That was definitely a trigger point. It interests me predominantly because it was looking into the future. It was looking at grabbing, some of the technologies that are bumbling around and burbling at the moment, and seeing how we can sort of set ourselves up to succeed in learning about these and aligning ourselves with like businesses, or like-minded businesses, I suppose, as opposed to like businesses, to set ourselves up for the future and take advantage of these technologies.
Yeah, my mind goes when I think about the new tech that's coming and what I understand about the value of of large language models and GPTs in deriving intelligent, smart conversations with existing bodies of information. And an ISO standard is an existing body of information. Follow the bouncing ball from top to bottom. And it really intrigues me as how we can move to change that space a little bit, to add value to that space and make it easier for our clients, particularly those that are struggling to understand the value. So I'm super keen when we get to Forge to flesh that one out a bit and open that conversation up. So you might have to do some homework before you're on that panel, mate.
Yeah. Good. You mentioned, Jeff, that civil construction is probably one of your biggest fish that you go for. Is there any other industries you like to target, and what's the most innovating thing you're doing for them?
Industries, I mean, the beauty about working in my industry, everyone can potentially be a client, from a
correct, yeah,
small market research company up until a multinational construction business, all in between. And I suppose that's why I enjoy it, because I'm constantly talking to different people within different organisations in different industries. The second part of that question, please, Phil.
What's the most innovative thing you're doing for them, like compared to like some others? As an industry, it's probably not the most innovative industry. The way the standards are written is the way the standards are written. They're definitely written differently these days, as far as they're less prescriptive, and that brings in the skill of the auditors that work for us. So that's definitely moving in the right direction. As far as technology based, there's definitely a lot more platforms that can be utilized. The IT's definitely utilized through, from OHS using an iPhone to take a photo on site, or using a drone to go IP.
So the technology's definitely there. As far as AI and those sort of things, it's probably a bit more of a slow burner, and I think we do need to be a little bit careful with depersonalizing the industry and not taking advantage of the skills of the auditors. But if we can make it more efficient, absolutely, I'm more for it.
Look, it links into a conversation piece, which we always love getting into, and it's twofold. Number one is how do you stay ahead of industry trends, I'm not saying you have to stay ahead, but you certainly have to be up with industry trends. To be aware, to make sure your business is able to innovate and show value. The other bit that's critical, and I know it's critical for you, mate, is the concept of partnerships. So let's lean into the second one a bit. Tell me the importance of partnerships and how that has worked for you as a business.
As a smaller headcount type business, partnerships are incredibly important. I deal with a lot of consulting groups, and essentially what I can do, they can't do, and what they can do, I can't do, due to the code of ethics that we both adhere to. So, but it is a good jumping point for both of us to be able to recommend and refer the other's skill set and the other's organisation to be able to satisfy the client's requirements. And at the end of the day, that's the trigger point, being able to refer the client into another business to be able to help them. The bonus is obviously to be able to help your own business and take those referrals and give them out in that sort of forum. Obviously, other partnerships are industry partnerships. There are partnerships that just referral mechanisms through satisfied clients. So it's and also partnerships through our auditors. A lot of our auditors, due to the nature of their employment, they will also service clients from a consulting point of view as well. So it's a nice balance between getting the job done, satisfying the client's requirements, and also expanding business.
Yeah, what's funny in your world is you've got this fixed partnership model, which, as you said, through a code of ethics, you can't cross boundaries, so you've got to work together anyway. The same applies when you step across in different vertical industries, that you've got this gap between your skill sets and others. And I think that's what Forge is really all about, right? Is getting a group of great partners who work and operate in similar industries that can vouch for one another and say, hey, these guys do a really good job over here. You should talk to them. And I haven't seen an event that does it quite like this. So I'm super excited to be the guinea pig or test it out with you and see how it goes. Because I know your success is built on partnerships and ours is too. So
and inherently part of our industry is yes, we're auditing different organisations, but there are learnings that can be taken out of industry. If we put the blinkers on and we just only audit market research organisations, as the example we used earlier, we're only going to add a certain amount of value. But if we're cross-pollinating the learnings from other businesses and best practice of other businesses, that could be quite beneficial to different industries.
Yeah, and I'm super curious with the ISO standards or the iOS standards, depending on what acronym you use. The bit that intrigues me is what's running hot at the moment in the standards that you're finding. Like, I know we've got the triple cert, right? But what if there was one that's running really hot? We've got cyber coming through pretty hot as well. Like, what's ultra hot?
Probably from a newness perspective, it would be your ISO 27001, which is your ICT, Information Security Management Standard.
Yeah.
I was part and parcel of that when it first launched years ago. It's been a little bit of a slow burner, but I think the Australian businesses have taken a little longer than I assumed to embrace it. But nowadays, it's something that we're presenting on and proposing to businesses on multiple times a week. And
the truth is, if I was to say why is it harder, I think it's the hurdle rate that you have to do in terms of third-party engagements that you're not familiar with, in order to achieve that. Like when you're doing your ISO triple cert, you've almost got full control over everything you do in terms of the delivery of that, if that makes sense as a business. Sure, you've got to identify partners and suppliers and all those sorts of things, but they're a checklist model on how you adopt and work with them and assess them and ensure that they're fulfilling their obligations inside your framework. But with ISO, you're running a Microsoft system, you're running all sorts of technology systems. Are they doing the things that are needed? But it's not just like a tick the box. You've got to dive a bit deeper. So yeah, I think that's probably, in my opinion, maybe one of the reasons why it's a bit slow burn is because of the challenges that sit around it.
Yeah. I mean, ISO as an industry was very prescriptive back in the day. It's not now. It's very much. As I said earlier, the standards are written to have that flexibility and to be able to fit into different businesses, and that's where the true value comes from. Anyone can tick a box and hand out parking fines, but it's not about that. It's the collaboration of getting businesses to benchmark and move in the right direction through improvement.
It'd be good if like ISO was a requirement for all civil construction. It's like it has to be as a requirement.
It's hard to put things down as a law. It's going to be a benefit for my business.
Absolutely.
They did it in transport. They created standards around safety in transport, funnily enough, and put them down as law. So, yeah, I get a framework is hard to put down in law. But more and more tenders. I mean, we could talk to that. More and more tenders, more and more requirements that you must be certified to a standard of some sort.
It definitely has become what I would consider a cost of doing business in a lot of industries. It's never mandated, but an educated organisation will look at the plus and minuses and see from a commercial point of view the definite benefit, but also the value add to the organisation long term and being a choice place of employment.
Yep.
Interesting. We spoke about partnerships already, I believe, Courtney, but I don't know if we can add any extra to it. But you did mention how important it is to have collaboration across different industries. Is there an example of a cross-industry partnership that's had success, by any chance?
Cross-industry partnership. I think the best is really utilising the auditors and the consultants to offer something that ethically isn't appropriate, because commercial out of it, at the end of the day, our heart's in giving the client or the prospect the airtime and the ability to satisfy requirements. Quite often I will have a lead come in or a phone call come into the office asking about the journey towards getting certification, and it could be a 2-year prior call to when they're going to be ready to be
Yeah.
certified. And it just allows me to educate and help people on their journey, which I enjoy. And, you know, obviously a year's down the track, 6 months down the track, 2 years down the track, whatever it might be, we see them as a client coming on board.
Yeah, look, it's really interesting. And the point you make, we had a session with John Toomey, and John had this really cool, almost, I'm going to say sage-like thought process around who the real customer is.
Mm-hmm.
And often we get into ISO and we think, oh, it's all about us. It's about our improvement and changes. But at the end of the day, it is 100% written to focus your business on your client and deliver high-quality services to your client.
Sure.
So that concept of, oh, I'm forced to do it for me, I think people get too much caught up in that piece. Sure. And don't think about the client. Do you get into those conversations much with your partners in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It is one of the first things I'll ask people is why you're looking at gaining certification.
Yeah.
It generally falls into a couple of buckets. One could be absolutely 100% commercial. If we don't have this certificate on the wall, we can't fish in this end of the pond, which I completely understand. Others will look at it as an industry standard and need to have it to align themselves with their competitors. And others will not negate those other two areas, but they will add on I suppose the halo effect and doing it for the greater good of the organisation, their employees, their clients, their relationships, and every connection to the business. Yeah, and trying to improve their business. Yeah,
good response. Look, Forge is not just about technology. I think that's something that when we differentiate, what's it about? It is about the human aspects, about the people on the ground doing things that are going to be asked to do things that might be uncomfortable in a process. Someone changes a customer journey map. They insert a technological process somewhere in the mix. Someone's going to go, oh my god, world's going to cave in. Yes. So that concept of being able to cater for the human is really, really important. And in that essence, the design around, customer or party in your business that's going to be responsible for the delivery of, it's got to be catered for. It's got to be really thought through and engineered.
I think that's been a change.
Sorry, keep going. Sorry,
I think change, that's a really important part of this. And it's all around communication. It's all around being able to verbalise and communicate through our auditing team how this is going to benefit the organisation. Because you're not just dealing with, C-level, you're dealing grassroots, you're dealing with the whole organisation. I've been doing this a certain way for 40 years. Why do I need to change? Why do I need to report? Register it? Why do we need to have meetings about this? All these type of things. And people are happy to do anything if they can see value in it and they can see benefit. And I think that's, to hang on your words, that's a really important part of this industry. Yeah,
no, I agree entirely. Very much technologically averse sometimes for just the sake of being technologically averse.
Yeah, great.
No other reason, right? Same with systems and processes. Look, it's an interesting alignment, and I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here because I know the industry, I'm going to say a little bit stale. That's okay because I'm a techo guy, so I look over the fence and go a little bit stale. Yep. Are there any innovations that you've put in as a business that you can think to or talk to? And if not, that's okay, because then we'll work out how we get some in for you after the event.
I think some of the most important innovations that we've put in place aren't necessarily technology-based.
Yeah, I love this.
But as an industry, most certification bodies will audit against a standard, which is great. And you achieve the standard, you don't achieve the standard, you get certified, you don't get certified. There's your baseline. What we do as an organisation is, yes, of course, you've got to meet those requirements. But as our journey goes along with our clients, we audit against their system. So as the system goes up on a curve, we're not bringing them back down to the standard. We're benchmarking them and stretch goaling them based on what they've achieved to date. And at the end of the day, they're not going to risk their certification based on the way we do things, but it allows us to work with our clients and take them along the journey with their permission to increase I suppose the improvement within their organisation. And that is a huge differentiation and just a way of looking at a similar concept, but just taking it to the next level simply. But we see much better results with our clients.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Change management is always a dicey subject to get right and perfect. So it's good that you're actually in there and try to assist as many people as possible, not only on the C level, but also on that operational level as well.
Yeah.
Is there any signals that you see in the market that you would consider crucial for maintaining, your company's success and relevance?
Probably one of the major difficulties that I'm seeing in the medium to longish term is getting the right people within the organisation. Getting that next generation of auditors with the right background, right skill set, with the right education, with the right administration skills and communication skills, with a different group of people and different technology that they're reliant on, and being able to benchmark my industry to that next level.
Yeah. And that could be very tough to get, I guess, because the communication skills itself can be alone, and then capturing the data and analyzing that gap analysis and everything. It's quite difficult if you can't get the right competent person in that industry.
Yeah. You've got great opportunity for tools, the right tools that can set the standard for conversational thread style engagement, if that makes sense. So we talk to like some of the newer AI systems I'm seeing, Jeff, that are coming up, and you load all of your FAQs and your previous tickets and all those things into an engine, and the engine gets classified, and you can then play with a chatbot or even a voice tool now with some of the new technologies for voice response coming out. You can actually have a conversation that is specifically focused on your needs and your issues at that time. So there's all sorts of interesting ways I see classified data, which is very much what ISO is about, proving that you're capturing the right data at the right time for the right reasons. Seeing tools that will add value to that, which is kind of exciting. Our keynote for the event, Mr. Simon Waller actually believes that it's the importance of being open-minded, the concept of not closing your mind and looking for things that are going to impact you in your work life, your personal life. And he framed the word signals, and we have really lent into it for Forge because we get it. You walk around, and not everyone walks around with their eyes open.
Sure. I think that's very important, and it's almost advertises what we do. I mean, if it was heads down, blinkers on, just trying to tick a box, will you get some value out of it? Maybe a little bit. But if you got some realism in there, and you're looking at meeting requirements, but also being realistic about what's too much, what's not enough. We don't want to be bogged down in managing a system on a 3-man organisation, which is costing time, money to that organisation when there could be day-to-days. There's a balance and there's a level where enough's going to hit the mark, and doing too much is a bit of a noose around the organisation's neck, and that's sometimes more difficult than actually just trying to achieve what the standard is requiring.
Yeah. We're lucky. We've got one of those people that see things left and right. Lena, who you've had the pleasure of meeting, she's always posing in unique and interesting things in there to shake it up for us, and which is great. Keeps us on our toes and makes us think a little bit more differently in our approach to systems and standards. Approaching the end of the session today, Phil, do we want to close out with a couple of closeout questions that can knock the interview out of this park, mate?
I'm going to throw a question that's kind of off script, mate. So sorry to throw you under the bus there, Jeff. But we're going to give you like a bit of a spot to speak at the conference, of course. But is there any, should I say, what do you want the attendees to walk away with after listening to your insights?
I think one of my main messages almost daily is to give people a better understanding of what's involved in the achievement of certification. I think the misconception is twofold: the efforts that involved, and also potentially the costs involved.
Yeah.
And part and parcel of my daily conversations are around sort of pacifying people and saying, yes, there's work to be done. We're going to do it for all the right reasons. Yes, there's going to be a cost to the business, but there's also going to be a benefit. But just sort of put things in perspective in what the investment is and what the return on investment is going to be. And I think once people truly understand that,
it's a no-brainer.
They're more interested in taking the journey on.
Yeah. Well, mate, we've been super privileged to have you on board. Thanks for supporting the Forge, where we're going to forge new relationships, new ideas, and new thinking. It's been terrific to get to know a little bit more about ISO and the business in which you operate and have been with for 10 years. We've been on the journey for 10, as you've said. It demonstrates closely to me the importance of partnerships and relationships over the course of a journey in a professional career or otherwise. So thanks for coming on board. Really appreciate it, mate.
Guys.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate your time.
Be on the roundabout. We'll see you at Forge. Don't forget, 13th, 14th November. Get there.
Gotcha.